Alright, this fourth video is with regards to case law or judgment law. Not so long. Alright, I'm just going to briefly explain about this part of lecture today, because it is not relevant for me to explain in detail about the application of judgment law. Alright, so for you, let me just read whatever has been included in Norha's guide, so that it's easier for you to refer to when you have this manual later on, soon, when I have received the copies of the book. Alright, by case law or judgment law. Alright, besides the law that they are made by the governments, they are law that are made by the judge himself. The courts, the courts, mahkamah, the courts make laws in several ways. One role of the courts is to interpret legislations. Legislations refers to the laws that I've mentioned before this. That's the statutes, the codes, the acts, the enactments. Those are legislations. Alright. So the role of the courts or the judges are to interpret legislation, to interpret, untuk menterjemahkan undang-undang bertulis. As already noted, courts may also make new laws. Make new laws. Besides interpreting the law that we already have, and I have already mentioned before this, the courts may also make new laws, alright, on their own, called common law. Alright, when there is no act which deals with an issue. For example, as you can see, there are laws that were made long before independence. We also have laws that were made in 1960s. We also have laws made in 1970s, in 2010, 2011. So laws are created based on necessities, based on times, alright, based on expectations by the community. So we need laws based on public interest, for example. So basically, when there is no legislations, so the courts may make a new law, alright, which is not based on any written law. Alright. Okay, examples of laws which are based on cases rather than statutes are laws which relates to trespass. Trespass is something like you masuk tanah orang tanpa izin, right? Masuk rumah orang tanpa izin, atau you enter into an area which was already put a signboard that states trespass will be prosecuted, for example. Private property, you are entering a private property without their consent, so those are trespass. And we also have nuisance. Nuisance ni kacau ganggu. For example, you are living near a very big mines, quarry mines, which is still active, and that quarry, still have that bombing activities that cause troubles in your sleep, for example, that cause a lot of noise, or maybe fumes, or maybe it can be noise, it can be pollution in the air, it can be like a direct kacau ganggu, disturbances, which cause inconveniences to you to live, or to enjoy your life. So those are nuisance. So we have also negligence, kecuaian, kecuaian yang bukan sekadar cuai-cuai biasa. It means that you have to prove like you have a duty to take care to somebody else, but you have breached that duty. For example, you have the duty to drive your car carefully. You don't drink and drive, but then you know that you have that duty, because if you don't carry out that duty, you may cause troubles to others. You may cause, there are a lot of death cases nowadays. So there are examples of when someone is not carrying out their duty of care. So they have breached their duty, and then that cause damage to others. Not only damage such as injury, death, but also damage to other people's property. So those are negligence. So a court decision may set a precedent which must be followed by other courts of lower status when dealing with cases involving similar circumstances. Examples I can give you, for examples for negligence, we have adopted, decision made by English courts, because in Malaysia, for law of torts, for example negligence, we don't have a statute for that except for Defamation Act 1957. All right. For negligence, for example, we have relied so much on the principles laid down in the case of Donahue against Stevenson. I believe that some of you or all of you have learned about Donahue against Stevenson when you learn maybe your Malaysian legal systems, during your part 1 studies. Yeah. Let me refresh a little bit about Donahue against Stevenson. All right. This case introduced, the judge in that particular case, Lord Atkin, right, introduced the neighborhood principle that you have a duty to take care of your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? All right, who is your neighbor? All right, who is your neighbor? Siapa? Who is your neighbor? It can be doctor, patient. Patient is a neighbor to that doctor. A beneficiary may be a neighbor to a trustee. All right. A student may be a neighbor to a teacher. University staff, for example, like I am a resident staff of UITM. I am a neighbor to UITM. So it is a duty of UITM to provide, such kind of standard of procedure. When they want to clean the floor, they must put that warning sign so that I may not walk there without having the necessary precautions, so I may not fall down. So that's an example of duty of care taken by university towards its staff and students. So students and staff of UITM are the neighbors of UITM. So I hope you understand. All right, since the 12th century, common law has been developing through the decision of judges in particular cases, so that over time, general rules have appeared. When a case is brought before a judge, he or she needs to see if there have been any other cases with similar facts or on similar points of law decided in the past. If there is a judgment on a similar case decided by a higher court, then the judge is bound to follow the ruling of that case. This is the doctrine of judicial precedence. So, you must have the idea to that in Malaysia we have that the lower courts and the higher courts. Right, decisions made by higher courts binds the decisions of the lower courts. All right, I hope that this explains to you the law made by the courts or a judge made law. Thank you. Stay tuned for my next video on common law actions. Yeah.